Talk about it next here on Upload Live. This post-game show is brought to you and powered by BetUS. Definitely check them out in the description. 150% off your first deposit, $125 off deposits 2 and 3, up to $2,000. So shout out again to BetUS. So again, bottom line, Tennessee Titans fall. They are now 0-3. The Dolphins game has just been put on the books. Apparently, Miami right now is 2.5-point favorites over the Tennessee Titans. And Miami will more likely have a third-string quarterback going up against the Titans. That's how bad this is. Again, we did the watch party today. I got to be able to step away, go get groceries. Shout out to Walmart, by the way, for throwing us the wrong groceries. But at least they gave us our own as well. It was a really crazy thing. There wasn't really much in there. But bottom line is they didn't deliver. Will Levis didn't deliver. Duncan didn't deliver. And the offense didn't deliver, and even the defense didn't deliver. The only one that really kind of delivered for the most part, and they had a stupid penalty by Simmons at the end, was special teams. Special teams did improve. All right, my thoughts. Okay, quick video just to get out my thoughts because the ultimate question I am interested in, it has to be asked. I asked it in the watch party. The bottom line is this thing continues to go the way it's going, week in and week out. Simmons can get on there and tell you, yeah, we support this guy, and yeah, we're behind him 100%. I'm just telling you, from what it looks like, the defense may not support him overall. I think there's a lot of other moving parts to this. Is Will Levis the only one that's bad? No. But he has definitely got his apologists on X. I mean, they are out in full force trying to get you to just basically sweep this thing under the rug, act like it's all part of the process, and how dare you point any fingers at good old Will Levis. I mean, that throw, Callahan could say it wasn't dumb, and we told you it wasn't dumb. It just wasn't smart. We got on Ryan Tannehill how many times throughout his existence for Tennessee because he stared down too many wide receivers. Honestly, I can't even remember how many pick sixes Ryan Tannehill threw, but I know he didn't throw this many to start a season. So I don't even want to compare, and this is apples and oranges. But if you believe in this young guy, yes, don't forget to tighten up that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. But again, this is just beyond. Because what I'm asking you is a serious question. It should be asked. And I don't know if anybody's asking it. Everybody wants to point the finger and be like, yep, you're not a fan. You don't do this right. You got to understand that Will Levis, these are growing pains. He didn't cost the game. Other than that interception, he's not that big of a deal. Yada, yada, yada. And that's fine. That's your opinion. Okay? So giving me a thumbs down, although shout out to whoever that is. I think I know who you are. You just keep doing your thing, man. You keep doing your thing. Shout out to you. But the bottom line is, Will Levis, are the Titans doing him more of a disservice by throwing him out there? I mean, Jalen Duncan was so bad tonight, and I cannot believe some of you are giving him a pass and saying, oh, well, you know, Nick Petit-Frere, you know, he's just awful. He's the worst guy in the offensive line. That's terrible. Really? That's where we're going with this? Because last time I checked, other than the complete whiff, like at least the Titans were moving the ball at periods of time. Yeah, they might have done something stupid or threw a pick six or whatever the case is, or had some dumb play calls. But the bottom line is, like, the offensive line, he had 3 sacks up into a certain point. You know, on the other end with Malik Willis, the Titans also had 3 sacks. It just seemed like once they benched Nick Petit-Frere, the wheels fell off, partly because the dam broke and there was no recovering from it, and then everybody's doing a disservice. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay to replace Nick Petit-Frere and throw out Jalen Duncan, who is just god-awful, man. He's just awful. And that pains me to say because I don't like to call any player out. He is just bad. You go back and watch the tape, man. He literally gets burnt on every single play other than the time where they typically, Radens had to leave his block to go help him. Then you're making everybody else bad. And that's a true statement Because if you got to keep covering from one guy on the offensive line and everybody else got to chip in, whether it be your tight end and go max protection, or whether it's the right guard that has to suffer, or even the center, it's a problem. Here's the thing. Will Levis just kept taking shot after shot after shot at that point. Do you think there, and I get it. Why would you want to throw Mason Rudolph out there to get the same fate? I'm just trying to say, why does Jalen Duncan get to go out there and just stink up the joint? And maybe there's no other option. If there's no other option, then that's your problem. That is your problem, because you had a lot of, and I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking about in general with the Titans. You had plenty of opportunities to go fix your mistake at right tackle. And we kept being told all offseason, don't worry, Nick Petit-Frere will be fine. He will be fine, Upload. He is going to be fine at right tackle. I got news for you. He's not fine. The other issue I have real quick before we get into Levis, what about Brunskill? Like, I'm going to keep knocking on that door because I find it offensive. Can I be offended? Because I'm offended that so many people in the media, so many people in general just keep under the rug with some of these things. Brunskill, I don't really care if he fits the scheme or he doesn't fit the scheme at this point, okay? I don't really care, because whatever you're doing and giving up 8 sacks, that obviously isn't working with the scheme either. Your offense is a train wreck. It is awful at this point. You might be 32 in the league, and I know that sounds crappy because, you're throwing up yards here or there. It's that bad. Let's get to some of your comments before I get into this Levis thing, because I am interested on your take. Richard, he says, we don't want Rudolph as starter either. So we need a quarterback who can bench both Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, and his name is Sam. Okay, Sam from the former Colt to come in to save the day for Tennessee. Titans, Jesus, we are stuck with what we got. Clearly, benching isn't going to change this train wreck. Great comment. It's a lot of truth to that. If you say yes, please just find another team, says Fade. Over Chicken says, not going to lie, Levis didn't play that bad today. He actually passed fairly well. The offensive line didn't help him. I don't blame Levis for that fumble at all. And that last INT was the end of the game overthrow. There's a lot of truth to that. How dare I get on here and start going south here on Will Levis? I'm just saying, what you're doing isn't helping him. And so many people want to keep throwing that, whatever. I'm going to bring up a name. There's no counter to it. There's none, because they did it the same way. And I know ultimately it didn't work out. He had a worse offensive line than Will Levis. He had no playmakers pretty much on the outside. And that guy, he had a tight end, but other than that, he didn't really have much. And who is that guy I'm speaking of? I'm going to speak to the mountains with it. It's Zach Mettenberger. Oh, that's funny, Zach. No. Hear me out. Zach Mettenberger started as a Titans quarterback. He was 0-10. That guy got just punished. He got destroyed. I just dare you. I triple dog dare you. Go get NFL Game Pass. Go back and watch that season. And you can't tell me that took a toll on Zach Mettenberger, which basically just buried him and he was done. There's a lot of quarterbacks that you can go back in the league. If you don't figure it out right away and your system isn't helping out, you will just destroy everything you got. All I'm saying is that has to be asked. Are you doing more of a disservice to Will Levis by allowing him to go out there, continue to fail, and continue to not even have an opportunity to succeed in what you're doing for him? He stared down the wide receiver. He stared him down. He didn't look at anybody else, and he threw that ball. Callahan can say, oh, well, Alexander's a great corner. Sure, he's a great corner. And you know what else is true? D-Hop is a great wide receiver. But it doesn't excuse the fact that is a mistake you cannot make in that key moment of time. The game was 7-7. Guess what? Now we're playing from behind. Titans never, ever did get the lead back from that, okay? You go back into his other games. Yeah, he didn't make the dumb play. Now we're characterizing him playing good because he doesn't make a dumb play. Well, did you see the Ridley play? Where Ridley's wide open on the sideline and completely missed him off to the run. He didn't really have anybody around him. What about the time late in the game when we're down 30-14? He continues to put his body on the line and will not slide. He will not slide to save his life. What happens if the ball came out there? What happens if it was a tie game? Because these things aren't learned. They keep continuously being made. Let's go back. Let's check another one out. You guys said, oh, it's in the game. He's just throwing it up there. No, he's done that many, many times where he's thrown into double coverage. And he's thrown into double coverage from Burks out of that matter. Out of all the other wide receivers, Ridley, well, what's the problem with Ridley? Well, he can't get the ball to Ridley down the field. That's the problem with Ridley. But when you look at the other end of it, I know it's painful. It's painful. I will be viewed as the enemy. I don't care because I'm upfront honest with what I see. If you buy it, great. If you don't, that's fine. That's why we have our community here for Titans Nation. To come in here, to voice your opinion. Some people agree, some people don't. At the end of the day, we move on. But this guy's not changing. This guy is not changing. I'm not the one that's, 1 week I'm feeling this way. The next week I'm feeling this way. And that's not me. So some of you, I don't know. But my bottom line is I see what I can see. It's not working. It's not working. We're 0-3. Carolina replaces their quarterback, Bryce Young, with Andy freaking Dalton. What's Andy Dalton do? Goes out and pummels the Raiders. What is it? The Raiders are just awful now? The Raiders are the worst team in the league? Now the Panthers aren't? I'm just saying, if you want to save the season, here's the other thing really quick that people don't think about. Rand Carthon went out and invested all this freaking money on this defense. He went out and got some playmakers at wide receiver. You guys told me, everybody told me, hey, Upload, he's surrounded with talent. There's no excuse. All I'm saying is now we got excuses. It's week 3. Here's another excuse I keep hearing. Oh, can't start the season 0-2. Lose. Dang it. Can't start the season 0-3. Lose. Dang it. Guess what we're going to hear this week? Oh, you can't start the season 0-4. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Jensen, it's next week, definitely after the bye. I'm replying to your title, no choice but to let him learn. And you know what, Titan South? It's okay to let him learn on the bench. It's okay to let him learn on the bench because whatever's going on out there right now, he's not learning. He's not sliding. Can't tell me he's slid before. That's an issue. He's still throwing into double coverage. He's still staring down wide receivers. The only thing he's not doing is the dumb play. But even when push come to shove, there are times guys are wide open and he doesn't make the read. He doesn't make the throw. And I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. This team, I'm serious. This team right now, worst case scenario should be 2-1. The Bears, my goodness, did you watch the Bears today against the Colts? Both can't be true, guys. The Colts can't be all world now, and the the Chicago Bears can't suck. I mean, I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing that. We talked about how the Colts sucked last week. The Colts just figured out against the world-class Bears. Come on. 350 left. Yes, bench him. We can't wait anymore. 3 games lost is not a division game, so it's not too bad, but it's time to start Rudolph. That becomes the ultimate question. Will Rudolph succeed or not? You won't know until you throw him out there. Bottom line is, if you are going to be an apologist for Will Levis and you're just going to continue to throw out the excuses over and over and over, and now we're 0-6, and now we're 0-7, and now we're 0-8, I'll just keep throwing a name, Zach Mettenberger. I mean, you were out on Zach Mettenberger, right? Well, some of you that obviously were Titan fans back in the day. Some of y'all Titans fans confuse me. Levis is still adjusting and acting with throwing no completions. Vrabel would have lost this game 38-9. I don't know if you can make that argument. I'm not saying bring back Vrabel. Callahan definitely disappointed. I mean, when I'm looking at Pro Football Focus right now, the EPA per play, -347. I mean, that is telling you the Titans are expecting to lose yards, to expect to have negative plays during each play of this game. I mean, that can't happen. Now, to be fair, the offensive line just flat out stunk today. But, they were moving the ball there. They were putting themselves, it wasn't the offensive line's fault he threw the pick 6. I mean, we can blame the offensive line for all this kind of stuff. But where's Bill Callahan at? Bill Callahan's on the sideline. He definitely was the one who replaced NPF. I'll guarantee that. I will guarantee he replaced NPF and he got him out of there. And I'm okay with that. But you replaced him with Jalen Duncan. I mean, why does he have pictures of somebody that I don't know about? Does Jalen Duncan have photos of someone in the Titans organization that I am lost on? And the media is all in on it, and a lot of fans are in on it. Is there something going on with Jalen Duncan? Maybe I just don't know football. Maybe I didn't watch the game today. Heck, maybe I was just watching ESPN and watched the whole thing come through there. Because Jalen Duncan flat out's terrible. And they just kept putting him out there. The only thing that's rational right now that I can think of before I lose my freaking mind, one thing. Callahan was hoping Levis was going to get hurt, so he didn't have to make the call and get the whole backlash for did he make the call too soon or was he too late? I don't know about you, but Jalen Duncan just getting out there, beat it like a drum for crying out loud. And it was bad. It was awful. Nobody wants Tannehill back. What I want, Fade, shout out to you, buddy. What I want is I want the freaking Dolphins to just go pick him up for this week because they're going to be playing the third string quarterback. I mean, my gosh, if we can't beat a third string quarterback no one's heard of, I don't know what the heck we're doing here. I'm sure we'll have excuses for it, by the way. But the bottom line is I hope Ryan Tannehill goes back to the Dolphins and actually plays this week. That would be amazing. That would be an amazing story. You know how Tom Grossi has this NFL was scripted? That would be the ultimate script if the NFL was completely fake. Because we're going on a tour just getting destroyed by all these old-time quarterbacks. I mean, my goodness. So we got the newcomer in Caleb Williams. He can't beat anybody, but he can beat us. Then you got Aaron Rodgers, who kind of did okay, I guess, against the San Francisco 49ers. But Rodgers is a good quarterback. Let's put him to the side. And then all of a sudden, bam, today. All of a sudden, bam, today. You know, Malik Willis comes in, and he played. Shout out to Malik Willis, by the way. He played one phenomenal game. Super Chat King, Kick It to the King Productions. Shout out to you, buddy. He says, hello, my friend. It's time to look at Shedeur from the Colorado Buffaloes. All right, before we get into some more thoughts, shout out again to our guys over at BetUS. Again, BetUS keeps delivering, unlike my favorite sports team. Going into this game, the AFC South winning the division, the Tennessee Titans were on the bottom. Colts were a little bit better than us, and then the Jaguars and obviously the Texans. Texans took a big L today. Shout out to the Vikings. Jaguars play tomorrow on Monday night. Colts beat the Bears. That was a brutal game to watch, but again, I only saw some of it, so maybe that game was better than advertised. Who knows? But the Bears almost apparently came back and won. It looked like a dumpster fire as well. And then you had the old Tennessee Titans who just didn't play very well today. Whether you believe it or you don't with Will Levis, whether you believe it or not with the offensive line, whether you believe it or not with the defense, let's just be honest. Everybody played like garbage today, and that includes coaching. Cole Anderson, will put him and throw him in there too, getting all worked up. Jeffrey Simmons, he made a penalty today. Let's not deny that. Let's not make excuses for that one. Defense, they didn't show up. But the bottom line, over at BetUS, they will show up. 150% on your first deposit, 125% on deposits 2 and 3. Again, up to $2,000. Quick turnarounds. Going over there, I mean, if you're so bought in with the Tennessee Titans, they're facing a third-string quarterback probably this week in Miami. Tua's not playing. I don't know if the backup will play either. Probably going to be third string or some guy off the street. Bottom line is 2.5-point favorites. It seems to be the early on the early docket here for the what we got for the obviously the who's got the advantage in that one. So early odds. Again, that might be a great place to go over to BetUS and take the Tennessee Titans. And take them to win outright. Because if they can't beat Miami next week on Monday night with a third-string quarterback, and they just saw Seattle just go up and down the field on the Dolphins, I don't know. Dolphins are probably feeling a lot worse than we are because they were expected to be great this year. Us, I think we were kind of mixed, whether it be good or it be bad. But anyways, one thing that's not mixed, one thing that's not up for debate is our friends over at BetUS. They do an amazing job. Give them an opportunity. Make sure you're old enough. Make sure you live in the right states. But head over to BetUS. Again, you won't be disappointed. So shout out again. YouTube 150 is that promo code. Again, YouTube 150 is the promo code for over at BetUS. So time to look at the poll. If some of you guys please vote in the poll. You got to vote in the poll. Okay, we got over 100 votes in the poll right now. I asked you, is it time for Will Levis to be benched? Now, this is an open-ended question because sometimes when you get benched, you can come back and be better for it. Okay? But last time I checked, too, like if you be honest with yourself and you look at all the quarterbacks in the National Football League, out of all 32, excluding the Dolphins, whatever that is, I mean, where would you honestly rank Will Levis? I think if you rank him anything higher than 26, you're crazy right now because he's been flat out bad. Now, there are times he can show up and he can make some plays, but there are other times where he's just flat out terrible. Average yard per play today, by the way, for the Titans was 4.4 yards. So for all that good stuff that you keep floating around, Levis did that, Levis did that. Bottom line is you couldn't run the football. You ran it 11 times for like 30 yards. It was brutal, okay? And even the passes, there was a lot of passes that were checkdowns, okay? And which I'm fine with. You can check it down. You can do those things. But the one thing Callahan's got to learn, he doesn't have the line to sit there and fiddle and dilly-dally behind the line of scrimmage. You got to do a play and get the heck upfield. I'm tired of this stuff going behind the line of scrimmage. I'm tired of this slow developing stuff. The Packers can do it. They have a better offensive line than us. We cannot. So we got to get the ball out quick. And again, one of the stats that gets overlooked too is I thought we had all these amazing wide receivers, right? So they did something. I think it was PK or somebody did this. Average, or maybe it was F Words Pods, one of those guys, about the separation and how it's taking our guys like 5 seconds to separate where the National League average is like 2.6. So on that half, do you blame Will Levis? Or do you blame the receivers? Do you blame the offensive line? I mean, there's so much to blame to go around. So anyways, you guys voted in the poll. Don't forget to tighten up that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, I'm just bringing you information. I'm just bringing you something to think about. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, I'm right. I'm just saying, like, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm not making excuses anymore for the guy. I just refuse to. Am I going to put it all on Levis in this game? Heck no. But again, what more do I have to do? Like, Jalen Duncan is going to get him killed. He is going to get him killed, and they just let him go out there and do it over and over and over. All right, is it time for Levis to be benched? 40% say yes. 41% say no. 12% said leaning yes. 7% say leaning no. So out of you, 47%, I've always told you about 50% of the fan base is always going to tell you what the Titans are doing. They're never going to counter that. But the ones that are frauds are the ones that when the Titans do make a switch and they do, let's say week 4, let's say they go with Levis. Let's just go for the quadruple whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Let's just say the Titans end up losing to a third string quarterback, and maybe Levis is okay in the game. He doesn't do anything great. He does some things that maybe he throws a pick. He leads the league in turnovers. It's not even close. But let's just hypothetically say then the bye week they throw out Mason Rudolph. These are the ones that tick me off the most because then they'll get on there and they'll be like, oh my gosh, Mason Rudolph should have been starting from day one. Come on. Those are the ones that they're fraudsters, man. You got to stay away from those. Ella, so in Pittsburgh, the Steeler fans said it was the O-line, and they thought their season was done. That was until Rudolph came in and got them to the playoffs. Thank you very much. Thank you. It takes a lot of courage to get on a Titans podcast or YouTube station and speak that because I value the fans. I value what the fans say. I'm not always just sold on what the media is trying to tell me what's going on because I do get a lot of that. I do get a lot of, oh my gosh, you can't think that because this is what it is. Just like with the offensive line, and sure, that's got us a great place, hasn't it? Yeah, that's just been great, keeping Jalen Duncan on the football squad. And NPF, like saying he's going to be fine. Everything's going to be. Tilting Pinball, never going to see the best Levis until the O-line can protect him. See, I'm gonna argue that one. I'm gonna argue that one. If you're a member, shout out to you. Narv dude, I see you in here. This morning, I went on an all-access members stream. A lot of fun to talk to the 145 Club. The one thing I brought to that discussion was a stat on Pro Football Focus that went over both quarterbacks, Malik Willis versus Will Levis. Will Levis had 2 games, Malik had 1. They went in the pocket, they went with a clean pocket and one that was rushed. They gave you those 2 things. Will Levis was 80 passer rating with a clean pocket, 44 with a non-clean pocket. Malik Willis on just 1 game was a 108 with the clean pocket, and I want to say I think it was still 100 with not. Maybe it wasn't. I don't care about the non-clean pocket. You're bringing up if you give him an offensive line, he'll be fine. My point is this: on a clean pocket, you're the franchise quarterback. You better be darn sure you're better than an 80 passer rating sitting there on a clean pocket. And if you guys think that's okay, then we gotta draw the line, man. We gotta draw the line because this franchise ain't going nowhere with that. This franchise is going nowhere with an 80 passer rating and a clean pocket. You blame the receivers? I thought they were supposed to be all world. I thought they were supposed to be great. See? And we're going to get into this But I'm not backing down on it. I don't care. Don't care 1 second, one way, one how. It's my opinion. You either agree with it, you disagree with it, have your reasons, all those kind of stuff. I do not care. Because at the bottom line is, no offense to any of you guys, I love you to death. I love that you're a part of this community, and that's why this community is awesome. Because I can voice my opinion, and you guys can differ or voice your opinion as well. But the bottom line is, I love this team. And what I'm saying right now is I love this team. So I have a valid stake in my freaking opinion if I want to. Okay, I can cry if I want to. We'll sing the song together because I love this team. And that's my honest opinion. Okay, I can have an opinion on the country if we want to go political because I love my country. So I should be entitled to have my opinion on the country. That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. But I don't mix politics with sports. And that's fair. That's my right to do that. Motivate, relax. Right, that's your opinion. Levis looks like he did in college. Quarterback could not win a starting job at Penn State, and he had the arm of and not the brain to play quarterback. Mario says, I don't care. We put back there. If you can't block nobody, it's not going to matter. Mario, shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for being here, bud. Appreciate you. But again, this goes back to my point earlier. Like, all these mishaps with Levis aren't because he's not necessarily getting protection. I mean, go back to the end of the game against the Jets game. The offensive line gave him plenty of time to throw the ball. He didn't want to. He was scared to make the big play. He was scared to make a play because he probably felt like he was going to get benched if he did that stupid underarm crap again. So, yeah, the offensive line's not perfect, but they were serviceable to a point. And then once Nick Petit-Frere totally whiffed, I'm okay with him getting benched. But you got to have somebody go out there that can at least, I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be mean, but, give me some boots. Give me, leg extensions, whatever you want to do, and get me up to 6'6" or however how tall Jalen Duncan is. I mean, literally, guys just going right by him. That's not good enough. It's not. It's just not. Malik Willis, he played great. And what did I hear? Oh, well, man, those two offensive coordinators that came before Callahan, what were they thinking? Well, wait a minute. Didn't Brian Callahan have an entire offseason and preseason to work with Malik Willis to see if he had anything to help the team? Or no, I can't bring that up, right? Marcus Mariota, it took a while, man. And I'll be honest, I'm on the other end with Marcus because I saw a lot of greatness in Marcus. I did. And he didn't have a best offensive line or the receivers that Will Levis has. I mean, Will Levis got some receivers now. Let's not ignore that. Tim says, season already looking like a wash. Seems early, but without an O-line, worthless team. But can you make that argument? Can you make that argument? Because back in the day, we said the same thing about Marcus Mariota. You can't replace him. It will be over. There's no competition with Tannehill. Tannehill was a disaster with Miami. He's going to be a disaster here. What happened? They put him out there and it actually clicked. I'm just saying, if you think the defense, you have so much faith in that defense, then you got to be understanding that it's okay. It's okay to give it a shot. Because the bottom line is, you might be hurting Levis more by playing him and letting him get destroyed than to maybe put his butt on the bench and have him learn a couple things. Hey, you're not going out there until safety first. There's your excuse, Callahan. Safety first. Got to know how to slide. Got to know how to get out of harm's way. Got to protect the football. I mean, you're right about somebody said 38-9. Maybe the Titans, if they had Vrabel, they would have lost. You know what Vrabel would have done though? Do you know what John Robinson? People are bringing him up all of a sudden. Oh, it's John Robinson's fault. I just laugh at those things. I mean, we got to get to a point where we can't keep going backwards. We cannot keep going backwards and blaming J-Rob for everything now. We started fresh this year. I know we could be better. I know our depth could be better, but we started fresh. We got all that free agency money. We had an entire draft. We had an entire draft last year. It's time to move on, everybody. It's time. If you want to give Will Levis time to make it to the end of the year, I mean, then we can't keep going back and blaming J-Rob either, right? But yeah, NPF was a J-Rob pick. But you know who wasn't a J-Rob pick? Jalen Duncan. And he's still here. Dance, hey, shout out to Narv, dude. Appreciate you. Keep him in, full year of tape of him, and then we can get the first overall draft pick. I've heard that too, Clayton. Thought Callahan was supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. Thought so too. Callahan's kind of stunk up the joint. He was bad today. Okay? And again, there's a lot of bad stuff to pass around. Defense missed a lot of tackles. There were some stupid penalties. Special teams was probably the only ones that didn't totally wet the bed today. Will Levis, time is running out. Time to move on, said Narv Dude. Let's see. We got a super chat. We already got that. Let's get back to the bottom here. Got a lot of comments. Stop bringing up the old staff. I'm not bringing up the old staff. That's what they're saying on Twitter, my man. Come on, Jesse. My goodness, man. That's not me. DeMario, shout out to DeMario. Appreciate you, buddy. LaFleur is a genius coach. Cater to the offense around Malik and use the Titans' aggressive defense. That, my friend, is a beautiful comment. That's a beautiful comment. And DeMario's exactly right. And my question to you is, why can't that be us? Thought Callahan could be that guy. We were unable to run the football today. We were unable to run the football at all, and then we kind of just went away from it. We didn't even try to run it. How do you go the whole game and only run it 11 times? I get it. They were up 27-7 or whatever, but with your quarterback, and you don't want him throwing it all over the yard, that is definitely a problem. Well, blame Miss Amy. She okayed Vrabel over LaFleur. Amy's not, Amy, shout out to Amy, but you got this new stadium, and I told you, they have to be serviceable. They got to be good going into that stadium. If they're a freaking joke and a laugh stock, that's not good. That is not good when you're trying to sell expensive now PSLs. Expensive. And again, I understand the 8 sacks, but a lot of these, I want to say at least 4 of them in the late third quarter, I might add, once they made the move from Nick Petit-Frere and put him on the bench and put out freaking, I was calling him Dillard Duncan today, for crying out loud. That's his new name, Dillard Duncan. Once they put him out there, Jalen Duncan, I want to say it was just like an avalanche. We went from 4 sacks to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 right off the bat. Will Levis just got freaking destroyed. Francisco says it's Rudolph time. Dalton says, I think the sacks are on play calling. Quarterback play and wide receiver separation, NPF are bad, though. You're right about that. Pass-happy offense with turnover machine at the helm, not a good combo, says Titans Jesus. You're exactly right. Oiler Titan, even if the Titans finish with a bad record, there are no franchise quarterbacks, receivers, or pass rushers in the next draft. 2 good tackles, Campbell from LSU and Banks from Texas. Oh, we're in the world of hurt, my friend. Oh, my goodness. I was thinking the same thing. Amnesia says all the Titans' touchdowns came from Levis, a straight drop and pass. Not all extra Bs. They've been adding to the play action. Titans scored twice on straight drop backs and quick passes, says Amnesia. XD Gamer, I told everyone the Levis is not the guy. Oh, it's not the time. It's not the time for a Jaguar fan to come in here and spread that. Our coaching staff, according to Mario, is as far as play callers in both New and Callahan and Denard, they'll get out there and they are growing and learning too. First game where I can say coaching was at a fault too. Yeah, I think that's good. The first 2 games, let's be honest, Levis wet the bed and cost them big time. I won't blame the entire second game on him, but I can honestly, probably for that first game, I can blame a lot of it on Levis. And I think if you had a quarterback who was more of a game manager, you probably are 2-1 at this point. Can't say a game manager would have beat Malik. Shout out to Malik, though. Malik played really well. And I've said that earlier. I'll say it again. Malik played actually really, really well. Burks also missed. Burks is, that's not good. That's not good at all. Burks NWI, NWI doesn't even have a catch. And I don't know how many opportunities NWI's get. I don't think he's even got a target, but he's still out there. And again, that's a problem when you're, what would that be? Your 5th and 6th guy are nothing. And here, this is back on Callahan. Okay. This is my closing comment, by the way. Jaquan Jackson. I think it's a fair point. I think it needs to be brought up. You should bring it up too. They should bring it up in the press conference. They won't, but they should. Where's Jaquan Jackson at? Where's he at? And then ain't a knock on Jackson at all. I'm just saying, with the amount of speed this guy's got, they don't even attempt to use him in the offense. You can't use him in 1 or 2 plays a game. Don't even use him. Don't even throw him out there. And this is the guy I heard all about Cam. Hey, he took those slants against the Seahawks, and he went 70 yards on 7-on-7s. Okay, well, where is he at? Coaches just not trust him to put him out there? Okay, he's a wide receiver, and nobody else. You're not getting much firepower with the offense. All you need to do is throw it quick to him, and he could turn on the Jets and be gone. And they don't even throw him out there. What is the excuse for that? For all the Callahan, hey, he's the best coach. Where's that excuse at? Where is that excuse? Because that is coaching malpractice to not have Jaquan Jackson even given some opportunities when Burks has been a disappointment and NWI can't even get a target and you're having trouble with separation. Then you got a game plan, just like you guys said. Packers were able to do it, and they had none of it, man. They had absolutely freaking none of it. Shout out to Stanley for the super chat. Oh, there you go. Now it's working. Was hoping I didn't have to do this, but I'm getting the custom Levis jersey, but putting the name Paul Crew on the back. Good old Rocky Top. Woo! Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. Tight ends need to be used more. They used them very well on the first possession. Chigakonkwo, we gotta do something with him, man. You can't go one game, or you can't go the game and basically have one catch on the first drive and then only catch it one more time. I mean, that's just not good enough. You need more out of Tyler Boyd as well. He needs to be he needs to catch that, even though it was behind him. But bottom line, let's get to more of these and then we'll get out of here. Again, I asked you, we almost got 200 votes. Is it time for Will Levis to be benched? 45% say yes. 34% say no. 14% say yes. So leaning yes and yes is making up 59% of the vote. 59% of the vote, almost 60%. That is only 200 votes. I get it. It's just a small little pinch. But again, the bottom line is the season is 0-3 at this point. You haven't played any divisional games. You're going against Miami on Monday Night Football with probably a third-string quarterback. So my question to you is this a great time to do it? Or do we just keep doing the whole thing where we got to keep learning, we got to keep doing this? Like, has he showed you anything? Honest question for those of you defending him. Has he showed you anything that you think he's going to be the next franchise quarterback for the Tennessee Titans? Because you might argue, well, no, but he hasn't shown me he can't be. And that, I guess that's fair. But I'm just telling you, I just don't flat out. I see a lot of stuff that's not getting corrected. And to be flat honest with you, like, it's early, it's week 3, it's a new coaching staff, yada, yada, yada. But you continue to throw him in, especially in the second half when he's just getting lit up. And your offensive line is just, and when is it coming to this play too, where do the players just eventually they just kind of know? Do the players know? Because I just get the feeling that we've built this thing up. The defense was supposed to be elite, made a lot of these moves. And just every game, there's just a bunch of trail of excuses of why we lose. Today was just bad. There's a lot of excuses to go around. No, I wasn't mad when we drafted him. Common sense. How many people have seen enough of Levis? This is like some of the okay. Clayton says he's shown a downside of Winston, none of the upside. The question is the O-line. It'll take time. Well, if it's going to take time, then you may not have him to be around, to be flat honest with you. I mean, that's true. And again, I don't want to make Rudolph the sacrificial lamb or anything, but for all of you saying, hey, he needs more time. He needs more time. That's fine. But if the offensive line is your scapegoat here, and it's just all because of the offensive line being so bad, and they were bad in the second half, don't get me wrong, they were terrible, then you have to ask yourself, is Will Levis going to even be a part of this football team for very much longer before he gets killed out there? Because flat honestly, he almost got killed out there today. Dude's a statue. He's making the O-line look worse. Heard that about Malik Willis, too. Didn't look like that today, though, did it? Cannot feel pressure, cannot navigate. There were some times he ran right into pressure. Elite defense? Nah, above average at best. They're still, okay, I agree. They can't get that key turnover. That's what's killing them. Philip, let's keep the Titans unprepared and thought it was going to be a cakewalk since Malik was starting. They took this game for granted and couldn't recover. That's really good too, Philip. Appreciate it, man. That's a good comment. They did. I know I didn't take it for granted. I just thought I thought they were going to slam Jacobs down our throat. And ended up being Malik Willis, right? He got it like 70 yards on 6 carries, and then he started the game off with a touchdown. I mean, he was good. He was good. Bring back Mariota. So if they put Rudolph in and he sucks, who are you going to blame then? We won't have that argument because it's not going to happen. Do you think they'll replace him? Because the same, you can say that, and I love you, Amnesia. I love you, buddy. You could say that. But I can raise it to you and say, okay, what happens if they replace Levis with Rudolph and he actually goes out there and does pretty good and the Titans start to win? Then what happens? Again, because the same thing. Do not just throw it under the rug, man. The same thing was said about Mariota and Tannehill. The same exact thing. And you know, one of the common denominators in both of those fiascos, the offensive line was a train wreck to start the season. Don't forget it. They were. And they started to groove around 7 or 8 weeks. Even when Lawan came back off from the PEDs, it took some time with him. Roger Sadfold, he didn't have his companion, so it took some time for him. But I'm telling you. And you know what the other funny thing is? Closing comment. I got Bear fans coming up to me, Chicago Bear fans, telling me how terrible Nate Davis is. Just want to throw that one out there to you. Because sometimes I think we think of our guys better than what they are. Here's Bear fans coming to me telling me how bad Nate Davis is. I'm not taking your high comment. I'm shouting you out. Waste of money. Your season is ruined. Worth a shot. Worth an opportunity. I mean, you're 0-3, you know. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, I honestly believe Snead hasn't looked great. I mean, to be honest with you, he fell down today and could have had probably an interception, but the season's turned into a bunch of coulda, woulda, wouldas. Beretta says Titans have so much invested in Levis to sit him. And I guess that's on the Titans because we put ourselves in a situation where you draft a guy in the second round and everybody, including yourself, passed on him in the first round and you took him and now he's going to have to be your savior. That means we're in a world of hurt, man. Shout out to Leon for the super chat. He says, I think you keep Levis in. Obviously, he is the reason we're losing, and now at least I'm not convinced. I don't see Rudolph as a solution. Better to tank for O-line draft picks. Quarterback's definitely a concern. I think reading between the lines, the quarterback, I don't know if the quarterback exists. So maybe that's why a lot of you are still extra hopeful on Levis. I'm just telling you straight up, it's not good, guys. It's not. And you can keep ignoring it and blaming this person and blaming that person and blaming this person. There's just not consistency when it comes to Will Levis right now. It's early, but let's not treat him like a rookie. I'm tired of this whole thing, man. We did it last year with Rand Carthon, right? And to be fair, I like Rand. But Rand was here last year. Let's not act like he wasn't here. Rand was here the whole year. He brought in Andre Dillard. That's all you need to know, right? And Rand has made some growth. And Rand has done some fabulous things in the offseason. I'm just saying, if you keep going this way that you're going, the whole season's going to be blown up. And what a complete waste of money and a complete waste of time that this whole thing's turning into. I mean, you could be 2-1 right now, but you're 0-3. And it's just going to continue. I mean, you lose to a third-string quarterback out of Miami? It's bad. Mike Vrabel in the house. Shout out to Vrabel. He says no one with the media credentials will criticize Amy with this, even with Evan, Tim Kelly, and Callie over Callie. This scheme sucks. These Titan fans were sold on a modern offense. It's a myth. Haven't seen it. But is it not working because of who's running the ship? You know, we do this. I'm not going down this way. But one of the things I freaking hear all the time, I hear it all the time. And politics is the worst at this. Everybody blames everybody in politics. Nobody ever wants to take accountability. Ever in politics. It's always someone else's fault. And that's, I think your vote matters, and I encourage you all to go out and vote. That when you're old enough to vote, if you're 18 plus, you definitely go out and vote, and don't worry about where it's going. Just go out and do your thing so you can say, hey, now I have an opinion. I'm not happy with this or that, but at least I voted, because you will take one step above anyone that can go out there and hoot and holler and get all upset. But you ask them, hey, did you vote? Well, no. And then here come the excuses. I'm just saying, don't be that person. Don't be that person at all. Whole season, we're already done. At least root off with a chance. Let's be fair, though. This is the same Levis that we had with a worse team last year. They got to figure out why he isn't in the games he is playing. He looks uncomfortable. You're right. You're right. And this is more, that falls on Callahan. Look what they did with Malik Willis. So you can't say it can't be done. When he got, just a final point, at the end of the whole thing with the 53 roster, many of you were just saying, just cut Malik Willis. Nobody else wants him. And I kind of pounded on the table and fought back on that one. I said, wait a minute. All these GMs, all these coaches, they invest so much time and energy in the draft. There's going to be at least one team that thinks that they can work with Malik. Sure enough, the Packers not only were that team, they actually even gave up a 7th round pick, which for a guy that you know is going to get released or cut, you're just throwing a 7th round pick. I mean, I'm just telling you. So don't tell me it can't be done. And we should be in the same philosophy. Yes, I agree with you. Take that scheme, put it in the freaking garbage, put it in the toilet and flush it. I don't care about the scheme at this point. Get the best players out there. Why is Brunskill not on the offensive line at this point? He was literally the best offensive lineman we had last year, other than Latham and Cushenberry. I mean, my goodness, he's not good enough. I'm willing to, and I've been telling you this too. Radens, I came out of the video in the preseason. I said he should be right tackle. And I got so much hate because it's like, oh, well, it doesn't fit the scheme. He's built for a guard. Again, Skronsky, you didn't even give an opportunity to play left tackle what he did at Northwestern in the Big Ten. You didn't even give him an opportunity. Final thing, the poll, and then we're done. I promise you this. Yes, 43%. No, 34%. Should he be benched? Yes is winning. Leaning yes at 17. So now we're all the way up to 60%, either yes or leaning yes, and 40% saying no or leaning no. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? That is kind of great. Really, 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 really crazy. All right, you guys were awesome. Shout out again to BetUS. Definitely use that promo code. Look at that promo code, YouTube150, and save yourself, or actually a bonus of 150% on your first deposit, and on your second and third deposit, 125%. Again, BetUS. Go over there. YouTube150 is your promo code, and have fun with it. And shout out to BetUS for providing for sponsoring this video. We had 4 super chats. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Will Levis on the door, throwing interceptions one way, fumbling on. I'll stop. I'm a terrible rapper. I'll just stop. But anyways, hello, my friend. It's time to look at Shador. Stanley in here saying Paul Crew, let's go. Leon with a super chat. He's talking about how painful it is. Better tank for offensive line picks. And Mike Vrabel stops by to say, hey, when are we going to just throw out this scheme and say, hey, this modern offense is an absolute myth? Again, Titans fall. They're 0-3. You going to bench Will Levis? You guys are telling me yes overall tonight, around 60%. 40% are still hesitant. So my question to you is, it's not up to me. I'm just giving you facts. I don't know if he should be out there anymore. At least, worst comes, you can twist my arm, throw him out there one more time against the third-string Dolphin quarterback. But once we get to that point, I'm just going to fight back with this. Are you hurting him more by throwing him out in the fire when he's obviously not ready? That's what I'll say. Till next time, tighten up, everybody.